Child is father of the man, it is said. What we'll do is, we'll just play some games. Tell me, how can you put a giraffe into a refrigerator? Use all your fundas, compress it, cut it, weld it, lift it, floating crane. How can you put a giraffe into a refrigerator? He must be a young guy because he still remembers his childhood. The answer is very simple. We all must be thinking, because of our experience, our knowledge, our skills, that maybe we have to compensate. Giraffe is so tall, our refrigerator is so small. How can we do it? We can do it. How? If we think like a kid. Open the door, put the giraffe in, close the door, finish. What is the difference? What do we learn here? We, the adults, we try to overcomplicate simple things. And that's why we never beat our children in our games. So now we are going back to our childhood, right? Yep. You are ready now? Okay. Tell me, how will you put an elephant into the refrigerator?
Remove the giraffe first and then put the elephant.
Very good. He is already into his childhood. He has started thinking. Okay? Otherwise, if anyone who is still not gone back into those nice days will still think, take the elephant, open the door, put it inside. No. If you thought so, there is something you can learn here. This is how elephant goes in. That we, the adult, we tend to forget. And we do not learn from the repercussions of our previous actions. Okay? So now everybody is awake and everybody is into their childhood where you can learn. That's why I wanted you to come to the childhood. Okay, another question. The Lion King is hosting a conference and everybody is invited from the jungle. Everybody comes there. But Lion King is very angry. Where the hell is that guy? Who is that guy? Who is the guy who is missing? See? Again, you came back to your adulthood. My friend, that elephant is there inside the refrigerator. How can you go in you did not open the door. How can you go to the conference? So that guy is missing. That means whatever we are learning, we are getting obstructed by our previous learning, which is becoming a hindrance. And plus, whatever we learn, we don't link our present circumstances with our previous learning. Last question. There is a river and we have got alligators and crocodiles down there. There is no boat. How will you cross it? Simple, just swim across. Why, alligator will eat you? No, he has gone for the conference. What does this tell you? We worry about the things which do not exist. There is no alligator there, there is no crocodile there, but still we are worried. They all are in the conference. Why are you worried? Okay, now we relate whatever we learned as a child to our present circumstances. Yeah? We tend to overcomplicate things. We tend to worry about what is not there. This happened in one of the Japanese giant company. They were in cosmetic business. Very famous Japanese company. They were into TQM, total quality management. They were thinking, they had the quality steering committee, quality driving committee, whatever committees you name, they had everything. There was a complaint. What was the complaint? That they were making beauty soaps. One of the retailer, received one of the empty soap boxes. There was no soap inside. Japanese bosses, they got up. How can this happen? We are total quality management team. They made another committee to look into this, why it is happening, and make sure it does not happen again. They did it. We had Vice President of Marketing, led by Vice President of Quality, sitting down in the committee discussing why it is happening. They brought the IT in. What did they do? They designed a system which will sense the empty soap box. It will pass a message to a robot down the assembly line. A robotic arm is there which will pull all empty boxes. And there was a giant plasma screen where the bosses could see what is happening. They spent only $10 million for designing it and installing it. But they got rid of one big problem. They didn't have any empty soap boxes. They satisfied their customer. What a brilliant idea, right? But there was a small company down there who also was into the same business. They were making soaps, not selling so much. What did they do? One of the employee, he went to Docomi. You know Docomi? The discount stores in Japan. Got one pedestal fan for 200 yens. Installed it at the end of the assembly line and started it. The draft of the air blew off all the empty boxes. $10 million saved. Same result achieved. So what did we learn here? Keep your processes simple, stupid. Why stupid? Because I want to understand them. I am stupid. For me to understand your processes, please keep it stupid. These are the tablets. Take them inside as much as you can. Simple is better. Yes, we just saw that. $10 million saved. Does it compromise with quality? No, the end product was there. The customer was not getting any empty boxes. Did it compromise with productivity? Not at all. It just took 5 minutes to get that pedestal fan there. Remember one thing. Customers, they do not buy products or services. If you have got a headache, what do you want? Panadol or your headache to go? You want your headache to go, right? If it goes without Panadol, will you buy Panadol? No. So you are not buying product, you are buying what that product will give you. So this is very important concept. They buy what they get out of the product. When they buy medicines, they are buying cures. When they buy blanket, they are buying the warmth which it will give. And how can we give this? Think of again those two Japanese stories. The guy, he began that there should be no empty box. That's what he wants to achieve. And that's how he did it. You always begin with the end in mind, with as less number of steps as possible, as less number of parts or complexity. What are the advantages? If you have got only few steps, in putting a pedestal fan, what mistake he could make? Any mistake he could make? No. But in installing a giant robotic arm, and then a plasma screen, and then sensor, and then how many mistakes we can make? Huge. And how this culture will come? You have to instill it in your employees. The answer is focus on the solution, not on the problem. And do you think that guy was an idiot who put the pedestal fan? No, my friends. You got to be very, very clever to come with simple solutions. How? You will see now. We play a game now. How many dots you see? 9. Any of the smart guy there, tell me the minimum number of straight lines you need to join these dots. This way, 4, 3. Who said 3? Who said 3? Can do in 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Anyone can do in 3? This is the first thing. But why we assume that we cannot go beyond these? Because when I was trying I was always trying to be within this. But if you start from here, outside, see, in 4 you can finish. Now tell me, what about 3? Can we do it in 3? How many of you feel we can do it in 3? Now again, we made a wrong presumption. We presume that they should pass through the center. Did I tell you? No. If we start even further down, in 3 lines we joined all of them. Can you do it in one? Can you do it in one? There is a prize for this. Did I tell you cannot move the dots? I didn't tell you. Why you presumed? Now listen. Whenever we are doing our processes, we tend to presume a lot of things. Challenge your presumptions. Challenge your existing notions and existing beliefs. Be creative. As soon as this monkey starts climbing, I spray 0-degree water, cold water on all 5 of them. What will happen? They all will come back, yeah? So this monkey tries, the water is sprayed, they come back. Okay, then they start looking at this. After some time, this monkey tries, again I spray water, again all of them come back. What do they learn? Okay, try to relate this with what is happening in your company, your employees, and your processes, okay? What do these guys think? These monkeys think that whenever I go to do this thing, this way, I am sprayed with water. Then what I do is, I switch off the water. This monkey goes and tries, this, water will come, so other 4 go and pull him down. Right? I have switched off the water, but other 4 will go and pull him down. Now what I do is, I take this monkey out, put a new monkey here. Other 4 will not try because they have been bashed up enough by their colleagues. This monkey will try, but the moment he goes, those 4 will go and pull him down. Otherwise the water will come. Then I move this monkey out and put another one there. What happens? When he goes, all 4, 3 old and 1 new, they go and pull him down. Old one thinks because the water will come, new one doesn't even know why he's pulling him down. Right? New one doesn't know why he's pulling him down. He just pulls him down because this is what everybody is doing. I replace them and slowly I replace all. So they all are pulling them down. The banana is still there. We have never achieved banana. They never reached banana. They all are pulling them down and they don't know why the hell they are doing it. This is happening in all organizations. We have blocked creativity. There was a small thing, I don't want to take much time in that particular story, that if I have 2 kids, one of them is very nice, very positive, very this, good, good, good. Other one is bad, bad, bad. Who will run my business? The one I feed. Right? If I feed the bad guy, he will grow up and run my business. This guy will die because no food. If I feed the good guy, he is the one who will grow and run my business. And same thing now, creativity. This is very important. For any processes improvement, for anything, creativity is really the key. How we can be creative, how we can make sure that our employees are creative, our colleagues are creative. I will just run quickly through some of these examples. There is one simple technique which is called reversal. Just think about exactly the opposite way. Take a U-turn. If you make a mistake, God allows you a U-turn. And Dubai allows you many U-turns. So reversal technique is very good. You know, Sir Henry Ford, in 1930s, people always believed that a man or worker has to go to the workplace or he has to go to the object where he has to weld. Sir Henry Ford thought the other way around. No. My worker will not go to the place he has to weld. That place or that object will come to him. And that was the invention of assembly line. When his workers stood there and the objects were moving, the things to be welded or things to be assembled, they were moving. Workers didn't move. He just thought the other way around. And rest is the Ford history. On Africa, same thing happened. I'm just taking one live example from Five Center. Anybody from Albana is here? Albana was working in Africa. There was one simple thing. Obviously, we always follow our procedures. I'm not challenging anything. I'm just telling the observations. And the procedure says, as per the drawing. So in the drawing, there was some particular fashion where this pipeline has to be done. But this required 3 or 4 supports to be shifted, 3 places the pipe to be cut. It will delay the job by almost 7 days. Luckily, okay, one of the Albana employee, he suggested, why don't we do it this way? We reversed the process. Then we told, okay, let us do this way, and then revise the drawing and go and get it approved. Because as long as our end product is same, as long as we are giving the services what we are supposed to give, there is absolutely no problem in the process you follow. And we did it that way. We saved many days. Instead of 4 or 5 cuts, we were having only 1 cut, only 1 rework. Lagos digital design for cycles. You know what we do? We first produce a product, then we go and do marketing. Mr. Lagos come up with exactly opposite idea. He said, no, I will not produce cycles for my customers. Let them produce it. A very surprising idea, but he was very successful. Mr. Lagos launched a website, and he was providing all components. Customers could design their cycles and forward it back to him. He used to make it for them. They made millions in this. Second technique which is there for enhancing the creativity is slice and dice. Whenever any process fails or there is any problem, we always see it like it's a monster. It's like an elephant sitting on my breakfast plate. How do I eat it? We have got limited time for breakfast. How do you eat this elephant? You cannot eat it in one piece. Cut it down. Cut it down. That means slice and dice. If your problem is there with your process, you cut it down into different pieces. And then you observe each and every one. There are other methods to enhance creativity, which is cherry split, scammer, and mapping. Mapping is basically the mind mapping, which we say. Now the question which must be coming in your mind is, can we have the quality management and creativity at the same time? Can we? Can we have the quality and productivity at the same time? Remember those examples of Fan. Remember those examples of Mr. Henry Ford. We can. So this is basically a triangle where your quality and productivity is depending on your people, technology, and process. And these 3 together can make a big difference. Answer, as you said, yes, we can have quality management and creativity at the same time. Yes, we can have quality and productivity also at the same time. Creativity drives generation of ideas, right? We just saw those ideas coming from that small pedestal, the big pedestal fan, which saved $10 million. And these ideas are required for productivity and our bottom line. And we need new ideas for continuous quality improvement. We need new ideas to continually reinvent our procedures, our processes, and new ideas for our better bottom line. Now, after all those examples, do you feel your company needs new ideas? Yes. So what do we do then? Remember Sir Albert Einstein, the greatest scientist of 20th century. He said, if we have got a problem now, we cannot do anything. We cannot change that problem till we change the circumstances in which we created that problem. So we have got certain surroundings now, certain environment now at which we have got this problem. So if you face any problem with your process, unless until you do it in a different way, nothing will happen. If you keep doing the same thing again and again and again, what will happen? You will get the same results. I'll tell you one very good toothpaste story now, just to add on to that particular thought. In 1960s or 50s, we had one big toothpaste company, okay? They already had 70% of the world shares. Now what could be their dream then? What could be their mission? To increase their sales. They were leading the market anyway. Make it 70 to 80 or 90. But their management ran out of ideas. There was no creativity basically after 70% is already reached. Then there was one small gentleman. He went to him. He told the boss of the company, I have got a brilliant idea, but I'll sell it to you for $200,000. And I guarantee it will increase your it will increase your sales by 40%. Normally what a management will do? $200,000 for that idea? Let us form a committee. Okay? And we will spend 1/4 of that money, and we will search ourselves. We will look for our own ideas, our own creativity. But this particular company had never nurtured creativity and simplicity. They sat. The same routine what was done in the previous stories. They sat, they went through all these. After months, when they could not come up with any good idea which could increase the sales by 40%, the boss of the company called this man again. Okay, gentlemen, we have the deal. Give me that idea. And this is a true story. That guy got $200,000. He wrote it in a sheet of paper and gave it to the boss of that toothpaste company. You know what was the idea? Increase the diameter of the hole. When you put your toothpaste over a toothbrush, you have got this. If you try to recollect when we were young, the diameter was smaller, right? So from 5 milli, increase it to 6 milli, 40% increase. Do you still put from start to finish? So this is the power of creativity. Just imagine what you are missing. Similar way, there was a Vista company which used to make matchboxes. And then they ran out of ideas how to increase, how to save money, how to cut cost. You know, these matchboxes, then one of the small employee came up with a brilliant idea. He said, okay, why we have to put these abrasive material on both sides of the matchbox? And they removed one. That was the 50%, 60% cost of this. They saved 30% in the cost straight away. So you must have seen the matchboxes with both sides and with one side. Who is smarter? So now, from wherever we are, now after this simplicity and effectiveness and creativity, we want to make giant leap towards this thing. What are the steps? There are 7 basic steps basically. Effectiveness, which is doing the right things. I presume that at this moment we all are doing it. Efficiency, we are doing the things right. Improving, we are doing the things better. This is a continuous process which will keep on going. Cutting. To stop doing things which are not adding any value. Important. These are the basic 7 levels which are the cause of the change if you want to bring a change. Copying this is basically a benchmarking. If you benchmark some company, you copy from them and then do it. And this is what we have been talking about so far. And what is the abstract of all this, what we have talked? Only 2 things, simplicity and creativity. Keep your processes simple so that a stupid person like me can understand. I'm sure all the employees will understand then. They are the ones who will actually execute it. And to sum it up and end, we come to a very good story now. This is again, I am told, a true story. In 1960s, United States of America started launching those rockets, and NASA, they started launching the astronauts into the space. When these astronauts, they went to the space, they faced one big problem. And they said, called Houston. Houston, we have got a problem. It is not Apollo 13. What is the problem, they said? He said, I cannot write the report. Why? Because there is no gravity. The ink will not flow from my pen. Right? It doesn't flow. Even ball pen. You cannot write. Jesus Christ. We have got a big problem here. They formed a company. Fisher Company. Okay? This committee was formed known as Fisher Committee. This committee sat with the very best brains of the world who were employed by NASA. And they had brainstorming sessions, they had all kind of things. And then after spending about $2 million on these organizations, they came up with a brilliant idea. What was the idea? At the back of this, let us have a nitrogen capsule, a sensor here. With the heat of your body, the sensor will sense and the small nitrogen will keep trickling and keep the pressure on the ink so that you could write. Brilliant. This pen is still available in the market, yeah? Oh my. Hey, but same time, Russians also were launching the guys, right? What did they do? They used a pencil. Now, you have got NASA, you have got Russia. You have got a nitrogen charged pen available for $100, and you have got a pencil, 100 for each $1. Which one do you want to choose for your company? You decide. Thank you.